Good morning. This is Sal. How are you? I hope everything is doing good with you because everything is doing great with me. I want to introduce myself. This is my first live chat. I am I am trying this new channel because I have a passion for communicating what I feel, and I believe we're going to do great things together. Um, If you are watching this, please subscribe. You can comment on the chat. The only comment is the only way to comment in the chat is by subscribing. So I want to introduce myself first of all. I'm Cuban. I was born in Cuba. I was born in 1975, and I came on a raft. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure that our shot it is that people can comment, below and everything else. So, my cut me some slack because it's my first one, and my accent is not the best, but I do try to speak the best English I can. So, like I said, I was born in Cuba. I came in '94 on a raft. I learned English in Cuba. I learned English and Italian in Cuba, and that was my first reinvention. I had to reinvent myself after study something else. I thought I wanted it to be a mechanic, and that wasn't my career. So, for the first time in my life, I have to reinvent myself and start from something else, using a different set of skills, my language skills. So I study English and I study Italian, and then I started to be a tourist guide in Cuba. I did that for a year, and then in September of '94, I left the country, and then I went to Guantanamo Bay. I was in Guantanamo Bay as a refugee with a lot of people for 6 months. There were about 30,000 people in Guantanamo. And when I got there, I said, you know what? I'm going to contribute. So I went and I started being a tourist guide. So I was a tourist. Sorry, not a tourist guide. I was a translator. I started being a translator between the USA soldiers and the Cubans over there. I was not gonna be on my tent all the time, so I decided to stand there all day long and translate and do something to contribute. So that's what I did. I did that for 6 months. I also was part of the school. I teach kids English. Let me thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate it. Get some more lighting here so that it's not that dark. So I did teach for a little bit. That was another reinvention that I was doing in Guantanamo Bay, because I wanted it to learn more English, and by teaching others, I would learn more. So I did that as well. Then 6 months later, I came to the USA, and then after that, I got my paperwork like in 10 days. And then after I got my paperwork, I was able to go to get a job. So I got a job, and so I got a job on my first 10 days. I got my work permit. I said, like, you know what, I'm gonna go and get a job. What do I know? What are my skills that I can utilize right now that I can get a job right away? So what I do best, what I Okay, I believe my connection is stable right now, so I'm going to start again. I don't know if I left our conversation while I was in Guantanamo Bay as a refugee. So no, when I was in Cuba, when I came to the USA, actually, that was when I left the conversation. I'm not sure if you guys were able to catch that, but it is important to to use your skills that you have from previous experiences and previous jobs, um, in order to reinvent yourself. Sometimes we get into the trap of not really recognizing what we have and what we're good at. So as I'm in that bus, I recognize this lady and I say hi to her. I know the lady that was in the same bus with me going to the beach, and I start talking to her. I notice her Italian accent, and I start asking her if where she was from. She said I was from Italy, but I live here. And then she said, well, you know what? I tell her my story. So she's telling me, I go into my building, and in my building they're looking for a doorman, right? So um, she said that they have a position there. So, and she tells me, well, if I'm gonna introduce you to the hotel, to the condominium manager, if you want to, we can you interview, and if she likes you, you can get a job there. Okay, perfect. So that's what I did. I interview. She introduced it to the lady. She introduced her to me, and then I did my interview, and boom, there you go. I got my first job, which was my first job as a doorman. That was my first job in the USA. I was a doorman in Miami Beach, in a Miami Beach condo. So there, and then from there I went into working for banking for a little bit, to the back end of the banking industry. Then I joined luxury hotels in South Beach. I started being a front desk agent. Then I got promoted to front desk assistant manager, and then I went to work for another luxury hotel in Key Biscayne, top hotels. And then from there, I went to sell luxury items. So I have experience selling, um, items, luxury items. I don't want to disclose the people that I work for, just for their privacy and stuff like that. And then after that, I worked for a major bank. I spent 10 years, the last 10 years of my life, working as in a major bank. I went through the business department. I was a business banker, then a business relationship manager, and then I became a realtor just recently. And then that's what I do. I'm a realtor, and I'm following my passion, which is my passion is actually being a coach and help others, and share my story, and be here, and give you some value. So that's what I'm going to start doing. And this is my channel. Um, we live, we do live in very difficult times. The times that we're living on are times of change, times that we feel that our way of life is kind of like threatened in a way, because the artificial intelligence, or AI, like everybody knows already, is out there, and it's changing the way we think. It's also changing the way we work. And it's changing our jobs, and it's changing. A lot of us have fear of being replaced by AI, right? A lot of people have that fear. I don't have that fear, because I love technology, and I think that AI is going to be a great tool for many of those who use it. Yes, it will replace a lot of people. It will replace jobs, but that's only because the people that are going to replace, they need to evolve. They need to evolve. Um, they need to transform their skills, and then polish the skills, and use AI to reinvent themselves. It's important to reinvent themselves through AI, and use it as a tool, not as a search engine, not only as a search engine, like um, what can I cook today, or little questions that are not questions that are really stupid questions, things that are not gonna help you advance. So I have some questions here that I have collected from people who have talked to me, and obviously, as you guys send your Q&As and your questions, I can always answer those. I have these questions here written down, and my first question is, Sal, I've been a manager for 20 years. I am seeking I am seeing AI tools. I am seeing AI tools over my task and my company every week. It is it too late for me to pivot? Is it too late for me to change? Or should I try to learn coding or being a tech instead? Well, Mike, Mike, I'm telling you that you don't need to be a techie. You don't need to learn code. Now you have cloud that does all that for you. All you have to do is just every single day you learn a skill. Every day you learn a skill. Every morning you get up in the morning, and before you, with your coffee, or in your break, or after you come from work, in your leisure hours, it is important in your leisure hours you start learning about the prompting, how AI can help you in your business. For example, in your case, you're an office manager. So how can you not be obsolete as an office manager? Well, you could start learning how to prompt, um, you know, how to prompt, effectively to apply in your industry. Um, you can learn how to prompt to apply it in your industry. You can learn how to prompt to apply it with your employees. How can you for example, I'm going to give you a prompt example. Give me 5 strategies to apply to my employees. Give me 5 strategies to be more effective when communicating with my employees. But you can use examples like that. I'm just making this up right now out of my head. I don't have prompts. I promise you I will have some more prompts ready for to comment on this chapter and on this channel. uh, Prompting is something that it is important, because this is the way we communicate with the computers. It's a way we communicate with AI. If we don't give them the right prompt, AI is not going to understand us. It's going to give us a general answer. It's like the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't give it the right information, the AI is not going to be, it's not going to have the right tools for you. I have another question here prepared for you. Um, this person, Louis. Louis is, I want to secure my retirement with real estate because it is a tangible asset. I am 45 years old. I don't have any connections or investor network. Where do I even book deals? Where do I even look for deals? Sorry, I think I have to get glasses, but I refuse. All right, so let me repeat the question again that Louis sent. I want to secure my retirement with real estate because it is a tangible asset. I am 45 years old, 48 years old, and I don't have any connections or investor network. Where do I even look for deals? Well, Louis, the reality is that depends on where you live. Here in the South Florida market, and I know this is a reinvention channel, but you know, retirement, and it has to do with reinvention. So I'm gonna go into that question because people can reinvent themselves in many ways in their lives and in their different chapters of their lives, right? So you're 40 years old, you're in your prime, you still can do a lot. Excuse me. I did, I am 55 years old, and I am changing my industry. I went from banking, comfortable, cushy, learning, a comfortable job, to real estate, to coaching, to social media, which is an entire different ball game. So in this case, what I recommend, you start, I don't know what type of assets that you have, but you don't need a lot to start investing. Let's say if you have a small amount of, let's say, $15,000 to $40,000. In the South Florida market, it's a little bit difficult to buy properties properties that are going to give you return on your investment. But there are some, but there is a trick to it. You have to be able to hack the property. What I mean by that is that there is properties out there that are profitable, but you have to know what to do and how to approach that property. For example, you cannot buy something that has an association or a condominium association. I mean, you can if you want to, and you can park your money there, but some of them, they have such a high um, management fees that it makes it hard for you to it makes it hard for you to get your money back. For example, I've seen management fees of $800 and $1,000. If you buy for $300,000, your payment is going to be around the 4 grand. So in order for you to rent that condo or that condominium or that townhouse or that unit, you need to charge a premium. Who's going to pay $4,000 for your so right there you don't have a lot of cash flow left, and it's not. I mean, I believe, I'm not a financial advisor, but it doesn't make any financial sense if you're not going to buy something that is going to give you at least some profit. Otherwise, it's a liability and it's a loss. So in this case, I would just put my money on stock, on the market, on some kind of mutual fund or something. Which is, there's a lot out there for that. When it comes to okay, so that's that about the real estate assets, right? But there is all the assets that you can buy in real estate. For example, if I had that kind of money or that kind of investment, if I were you, I would start looking something that has like an old house, like an older house that has very little restrictions. These houses that have very little restrictions, sometimes you can divide and put a you can put a room in the back. You can separate it. Let's say the house has two separate entrances. You can close that up, and with permit, checking with with the city. But if it doesn't have any association, you should be able to. And then you rent that. You hack the property. You rent that little space there, and if it has an entrance to the side, you can rent it, and then you make some money that way. And then let's say you buy the property for $400,000. That's 4,000, and you put, let's say, 20%. Your payment is going to be around $3,000. So if you rent that for $1,500, you already have part of your rent covered there. That's half of your rent already. So now if you rent the main side, now you can making a little bit of money. I don't know if you follow me. I've also seen the case where a lot of people are putting trailers on the side of the house, like campers. So they put campers on the side of the house. It doesn't have to be a brand new camper. You can search it up and get for good deals and something that is workable, something that is nice. And then they also park it on the side of their house, right, as a camper. And all they have to do is just connect it to their main sewer line, if it is allowed, or you look how it's going to be allowed. And then you park that camper there. Now you have the camper on the other side, and you rent it, to somebody who long term. There's a lot of people who want to rent campers, a single person or a single mother, or maybe a young couple that is starting to save some money. You can rent that camper for $1,000 a month. Now you're making money. You see, 1,500 here, 1,500. Oh, let me see on my cover. It's okay. 15. I don't have a board. I wish I have a board. I'm gonna start getting ready for these things, guys. This is my first day, my first live stream, and I hope you're enjoying it. And once again, please subscribe. It's the only way that I can advance. It's the only way I can continue doing this every day, and put passion into and send me questions. Send me, if you can also send me a direct comment if you need me to do any coaching section for you, like any clarity calls. I mean, I would love to do that. We can always talk about price later on, but money's not the issue here. I want to be able to assist. I want to be able to help you, give you guidance. So let's say, for example, going back into that property, right? Let's say we buy a property in Miami. I don't know. Miami's a little bit complicated already, but let's talk about Broward County. Let's say Broward, Sunrise, places like Sunrise, maybe Fort Lauderdale, some areas. all those cities. But let me give you a Sunrise city just as an example, right? Sunrise, I think is growing. Population there is changing a lot. Demographic is changing. There is a lot of areas that haven't been discovered as a, they have been obviously they have been discovered, but they have a lot of potential. That's what I meant. So let's say you buy a 3 bedroom home there, in that has a nice little yard, that is not an association. Let's say 1,500 to 1,800 square feet. You need to put some money into it, but the trick is not to put a lot of money at the beginning, because then what if you put a lot of money into it, then that's money that you're spending that you can use to separate and do your conversion. But there is so much you can do with the house hacking. I mean, let's say you find a house that has a 2-car garage. The 2-car garage is amazing. You can do so much shit with it. You can rent the garage for someone who needs to rent to put their car in. You clean up that garage. How many times you open a garage and it's full of garbage and junk that you never use? Just throw that thing away. Put a little shed on the patio and then utilize a garage. You can rent that garage. You put an outside, you invest in a nice clicker and a nice, and then you just in a nice system that opens up perfectly, a nice door, and you can rent that garage for someone who has a nice car that wants to keep it in a garage, protected, and you can rent that garage for, we'll say, $500 a month. There's people who pay $500 a month to keep their antique car there, to keep their luxury car there, even to keep storage and to keep things in the garage. So that's $500 that you get there, plus another $1,000 that you get on the other room that you already divided, plus another $1,000 that you make into the camper. You see, now it makes sense. Now the investment makes sense, right? And that's how you pivot. But nothing is going to happen overnight, okay? Nothing is going to happen overnight. There is a lot that you can do, but it's just stepping stone. I came in 96, I'm sorry, 95, February of 95. It took me a long time to get to where I am. It took me a long time. It took me a lot of sacrifice. What am I not? I wasn't willing to sacrifice. I wasn't willing to sacrifice my family. For me, family was very important. Family is the first thing. Spending time, quality time for them. I could have more properties. I could have more assets, but I chose to. You know what? I chose to have fun too, because you have to have fun. You have to have a balance, because you don't have a balance, then you end up, with regret. With big regrets. So, and that's another conversation we can have another day. It's also a part of reinventing yourself as a parent, as a father, as a family person, as a partner. You got to dedicate time to those people who are around you. It's very important. So that's let me see what other questions I have here. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Security solution. I hate my corporate grind. But it pays me stable, 6 figures. Wow, that's a nice salary. How do I start a reinvention sprint? I'm sorry, I suck. I need to get better at this, guys. All right, please do not judge me that much. It's okay. You can send nasty comments. I'm gonna learn from them, but I need to learn. I need to get better at reading and talking at the same time from the computer. All right. But like I said, if you have a certain topic, questions that you want to ask me, go ahead. Ask me anything, and that comes, that relates to reinvention, that relates to businesses, that relates to anything that is in your mind, any type of anything that you think that relates to this. You can, any clarity call. I'm not sure if I can do live calls here, but that's something that I could implement as well. So let me read this question one more time. I hate my corporate grind. It pays me stable, 6 figures salary. How do I start a reinvention sprint without risking my family financial security. Okay. Um, well, it depends on what kind of reinvention this person is trying to do. But I think if you're gonna start, if you want to escape your 9 to 5, you need to start. You need to start thinking about diverting what you have right now, and then try to create something on the side. Nothing is gonna appear magically. That's the reality of it. So you gotta sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice some type of either time, or you have to sacrifice part of that money, part of that, and you have to. Um, all right. So let's say, for example, let's go back to the real estate again. Somebody wants to. This person makes good money, has money saved up, obviously. They want to start something else. They want to reinvent themselves. You can leave you have your golden, what they say, the American says, the golden handcuffs, right? It's you're not gonna leave your job. If you're used to certain amount of money every month, it's hard to leave that. It's hard to. You already probably have car payments, home, a mortgage. The kids are in schools, and all the things that we spend it on every single day. I would say start saving, or start putting some money aside. um, Maybe there is some type of business that you can do, any type of passion that you have, that you can start a side hustle on your free time. uh, Maybe if you have enough money, you can buy into a small business. You can buy you can start, use AI to brainstorm your ideas, and brainstorm what businesses are in the niche that you like to be. You can give it a prompt like, give me three give me three niches on this specific area that I can make money on. Or I have $50,000 and I want to invest it in a business is um, that generates me income, and it doesn't require any more than 4 hours a day of my time. Just as an example, okay? I'm making this up. Then it's going to give you those three businesses. Oh, but you have to give AI a lot of content, okay? You have to tell them what city you are. The more content you give it, the more specifics you give it, the better it is for you, because and the better AI is going to respond to you, because it's going to tailor the answer to your needs. If you leave details out, it's going to give you whatever you're given. And that's how I use AI in my daily life. I use it to give me specific productivity answers. I don't want to ask him about, obviously when I have a question about certain things, I ask, but I have different conversations, because I don't want my business and my tool conversations and my profitability and my money conversations mixed up with, how much cheese would I put in a pizza, something like that. I don't want to have that. That's not the type of conversation that you want to have with AI. So it is important to pivot and find out exactly what you want out of AI, so that you can give it the right command, so that I can respond to you in a perfect way, or in at least give you the answer that you're looking for, or at least give you the guidance. And from there, it takes you to a different question. So every smart question you ask is another question that you're probably going to have, but you have to be strategic about what you ask. You have to be strategic about the flow of information you continue feeding. Otherwise, it gets lost it will give you too much information, and you start being overwhelmed. That's what I do with AI. I give it just a very specific command with a very specific prompt. I am not a technician. I'm not a tech guy, but I've been learning the hard way, and I've been reinventing myself, just like you are, just like everybody else is. But it's important that we dive into this, not criticize it. I mean, you can criticize it if you want. You can criticize AI all you want, but I'm telling you, the more you fight it, the worse it's gonna get for all, for whoever fights it, because it keeps changing every single day. Every month there is a new application. Every month there is a new system. Believe me, these systems are making the systems that were before even better. But it's important that we learn AI, and then that we at least learn AI for for productivity, learn AI for creation, learn AI to reinvent ourselves, to be a better person, to be a better manager, to be a better leader. To It is important that we use it for advance ourselves, because the only thing AI is not going to be able to take away from you is your skills. It's not going to be able to take away your experience. It's not going to be able to take your humanity, right? So if imagine if you add your humanity and all your years of experience, right, and your intellect to AI, it becomes a superpower. You become a person that will be 10 times better or 5 times better or whatever amount you want to be. But that's what AI is right now. I believe it's a good thing. I mean, I always think positive. I like thinking positive. So I'm not being naive. And I know there is a lot of hate out there about AI, but I believe, if we use it for good and we use it to advance ourselves, it is a great tool, and it's here to stay. And I believe we should embrace it, and learn how to prompt. If you learn how to prompt AI, it's gonna be very beneficial for you and your family, and it's very beneficial for your specific um, career path. Anybody can use it, but you have to use it the right way. you know if you're a student, you have to give it the specific instructions, make it use it to learn, not to do the homework for you, but to grow and to learn. You can use it as a tutor. You can use it to practice. You can practice with it. You can use it to be, if you are in sales, you can use it to role play. You can say a prompt to AI. If you're in sales, be a tough customer. I'm trying to create a I'm trying to create a listing. I'm trying to knock on a door, and I want to practice facing a difficult customer, a difficult owner, right? So you tell AI, okay, I want to knock on a neighborhood, and I want to be able to tell the owner the importance of selling his property and the profits that he can get, something around those lines, right? And you give that prompt to AI, and AI will be able to generate a prompt, and now it's going to explain to you what you can tell that customer, right, that owner. And then you can say to AI, okay, now let's role play, be a difficult owner, so that I can develop that muscle, that rejection muscle. And then let's role play, and then you role play with it, and it will role play with you, and you learn that. And then, but you have to give it a try. You have to be able to accept that. For a lot of people, I'm telling you, for a lot of people, it's very hard to accept that AI is here to help us. So we have a little bit of skepticism. We're a little bit skeptical when it comes to accepting that. It's a machine. Why am I have to practice with a machine? Isn't it better to practice with a human being? Of course it is. But I'm gonna tell you an example. When I was in Cuba and I was learning English, I had to read out loud by myself, read out loud to learn English, because I didn't have anybody, and I wanted it to perfect my English in 3 months, because I wanted it to learn English in 3 months and be able to communicate with Canadians and people who went to Cuba, and nobody around me spoke English. So how am I going to practice? Right? So you have to practice with whatever you have, right? You don't have a customer, and it's hard to practice in front of the customer. If you go and practice in front of an owner and try to go and knock on a door, and the person gives you bad attitude, you might be tired, sweating, you might not react the same way. But if you go with already something in mind, right? I think I went off subject here, but I want to make sure that the people get the point of practicing and using AI for role play and using AI to learn and make you better, to sharpen your skills. Like the point that I wanted to make when I was in Cuba and I was learning English, I had to tape the TV with American movies, right? I put the tape so that I won't see the letters. I will force myself to learn and to listen, right? I will read out loud for hours, and I was doing that. Imagine now I have AI, right? And I want to learn a different language. I can learn that language. I can tell I want to practice this language. I use it sometimes when I feel that I'm getting a little weak on Italian because nobody here speaks Italian and I cannot go to Italy for a month or two a year, which I would love to, but I can't. I practice with AI. Hey, for an hour, on my own when I have the time. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You have to give a prompt and you have to tell them, okay, you have to give AI prompts and you have to tell it, let's practice, let's role play, no matter no matter what your industry is. But I think it can make you a better salesperson. It can even make you a better parent. It can make you a better friend. It can make you a better husband. It can make you a better partner. You can tell the story, what's going on, how can you talk to someone, right? But coming back to the business reality, to the business reality, AI it is um it is a great tool and we should all use it. you know like I said, you can role play when you're a realtor. You can role play, you can tell it that you can go and practice um, your your pitch to a client when it comes to a presentation, a listing presentation. You know how hard it is to do a listing presentation in front of a customer when you don't have many closings? It is hard. You're not gonna have, not everybody can improvise when they make a mistake. So a listing presentation is a complicated. You can give a command, an easy command like this to AI and say, I am new at listing presentations. Help me, give me give me three best ways to present a listing presentation to a client. I am new. I am new at giving listing presentations. I don't have a lot of practice, so use small, use easy language for me, and I can learn it to communicate it to my clients. Boom, something around those lines. You have a direct command. No, just don't tell them, help me out with the listing presentation. AI doesn't know what to do with it. They will give you a bunch of things, but if you tell it specific and exactly what you want, I've been practicing this, and I'm telling you, if you tell them exactly what you want, it will tell you exactly, and it will be more logical explanation. You can use any of those. You can use ChatGPT. You can use Gemini. You can use Cloud. I mean, there is a preference. I like using Gemini because it's very friendly when you speak with it. You talk to it and it talks you back. It helps you brainstorm a lot. I've been learning about Cloud a little bit. It's good for a lot of things. Like I said, I'm still learning. It's a learning curve. ChatGPT is also a good tool. It's got a lot of information. It's got a lot of good things. But like the main thing is just to when you're reinventing yourself, this is a time to reinvent ourselves, and this is a time to learn new things, to expand your knowledge base, to expand your creation. There is no need anymore to be in a cage. You don't have to leave your 9 to 5. I'm not encourage anybody to do that, but you can start creating on your free time. We have so much free times in our hands sometimes. So many distractions. It's important to keep the focus and forget about the noise. The noise, it is the hottest thing we have here. And I'm telling you, the noise The social media noise, the all the gossip and the people showing off, forget about that. Focus on creating something. Focus on on creating. And we have the tools, and now the tools are free. They're not gonna be free forever. I'm telling you. I'm not an expert, but things when they get too popular, then they start charging you for it, and they start taking it away because uh, right now we are underestimating it, the power of it. We are underestimating the power of AI. We are underestimating the power of what technology can do for us. We have so much technology around us that it's very deceiving. It's hard to focus on what we need, on what we can do to create, and then creating. By creating, we expand our mind, we expand our knowledge, and we can create that extra income that would allow us to be free to do whatever we want with that time, right? And I'm telling you, all it takes is a couple of hours of your day every single day. If you focus on learning something about AI, if you focus something learning about a specific technology, if you focus on learning that type of business or that type of um, side hustle or whatever you want to call it, right? Or that type of investment, and you start working towards it, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay. But success, I believe success in my life, I've seen it that if you stack skills over and over and you stack the right skills, you could be unstoppable, right? So every day, if you do something, it's a mathematical fact, right? Two plus two plus two plus two, whatever, and then by the end of I don't know, by the end of 6 months, you will be able to, if every day you dedicated 2 hours of your time to create something, to learn something, you're gonna look back, and in 6 months you're gonna be a new person. You're gonna be your mind is gonna be so much expanded, but you have to learn the right thing. You have to learn the right way, and you have to be specific of what you want to learn, and you have to um, tailor yourself. You have to discipline yourself, and give AI the specific commands and the specific tools and the specific information that you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to have too many answers, and it's going to be very overwhelming. I'm telling you from experience. And maybe for a young person, a teenager, for example, this is simple, but when in my case, I have to have more organized process information. Otherwise, I get overwhelmed, right? So that's my advice. I hope you like this live chat. If you have any questions, send me comments. Please subscribe. Thank you so much. You have a great day and a blessed day. Have a wonderful evening. I'm out now.